and welcome back to our channel. We are Cinechicks. I'm Jen.
And I'm Christina, and today we're going to be talking about Saint Maud, the movie that was originally supposed to come out in April of 2020, I believe. It's written and directed by Rose Glass. I think it's actually her feature film debut, like mainstream feature film debut. And me and Jen this was actually the last, was it the last? No, it wasn't the last. It was second to last.
It wasn't the last one, yeah.
It was the second to last screening we saw before the shutdown, and we went in completely blind. No idea what the movie was. We didn't watch a trailer, nothing. Not knowing what to expect. So you will be getting our opinions from seeing it over a year ago and seeing it now, and if our opinions changed or stayed the same. So what'd you think?
Okay, so first of all, when we saw it the first time, I left hating it. I did not like it at all. I didn't know what I had just watched. So then I was dreading it coming out and hearing everybody, like the hype of everybody excited for it, and I was dreading having to watch it again. But watching it the second time, I did catch things that I hadn't the first time, and since I went into it knowing what to expect, I didn't hate it vehemently as much as I did the first time, but it was still just like a meh movie for me. It's definitely, it's got all of the same feel as all the other A24 films. Like you can tell that it's an A24 film. It's slow, the cinematography was good, but just the movie itself it had its moments of horror and its moments of what you think is like supernatural, and that's one of the big questions is, was this movie really happening? Did she really experience all of these things, or was she having a psychotic break? And I feel like she was having a psychotic break. She had trauma in her past that she never dealt with, and one thing that kept being said throughout the movie is, like, don't let your pain be for nothing. And so she kept trying to make everything that hurt her in the past mean something, and by doing that she became, I think, a little bit more and more crazy and psychotic, and that what she was seeing that looked supernatural was just in her head from not dealing with the trauma of her past. What do you think?
I do think that the first go around, I was like, what is this? What did I just watch? Like, what the hell? I was so busy trying to figure out what we were watching, because like I said, we went in completely blind. We only had the name. There was no trailer dropped at that point. Nothing. So when you're going in like that and the movie be the way it was, you spend so much time trying to figure out what's going on and what you're watching. The symbolism is so heavy that you will miss out on a lot of things because you're so busy trying to figure out what you're watching. But also, I mean, after we watched the movie, I didn't really pay attention too much to the advertisement because I'm like, well, we've seen it, so I didn't really watch a lot of the trailers. But from what I gather from other people talking about the trailer and why it tainted their view of the actual movie is that the trailer passed it off as more of like a horror supernatural movie, and it was more so like a slow burn, almost not a psychological thriller, I think that's a strong word, but more psychological than it is like a horror in the sense of like, oh my god, we're gonna see a possession or something. I think that the second viewing was better. I didn't hate the movie. I actually appreciated it a little more for what it was trying to do and how it was depicting things. I'm gonna get into some spoilers. So we're gonna enter some spoiler territory, getting more into like why I feel like it was a mental break, just like Jen, and not actual like possession type of thing or whatever. So if you haven't seen the movie, want to see the movie, like just end it here, or danger. Basically, I think that more than the caved in chest thing happened, there was something else going on, because one of her friends tells her before that happened, like, oh, we saw that you were having a hard time and we did nothing about it. So it's like, okay, so if she was having a hard time, then something had to have happened prior. And then I noticed she had scars on her stomach that looked kind of like prenatal scars, like maybe she had a baby.
Didn't notice
that at first I thought she was a cutter at first.
Yeah.
At first, I thought it was like, oh, she must
especially
be.
with like the lighter, I thought maybe she like burned herself.
Yeah, and the fact that she burns herself later in the movie, I just figured that maybe it was like a self-mutilation thing. But then when I like really was looking at the scars, I'm like, you know what? This kind of looks like when you get pregnant and like your skin stretches. Like it looked more like stretch marks from pregnancy than like cuts. Could be completely wrong. This is just what it looked like to me. So like either maybe she had a baby and had to give it up, or had a baby and it passed away, or like something that caused her to go wild and people be like, oh, she needs help, but like not really do anything about it. That led to her overall break when her patient's chest caves in when she's trying to save the patient's life. That's something that I would have never even picked up from the first viewing because I was so, busy worried about everything else. One thing that I noticed that was different from our viewing, the only one thing I could actually remember that was different from our viewing, is that...
I know, because it's been so long.
I know. So when she would feel God's love the way she describes it, and she's all on the floor and all that other stuff, when we initially saw it, that's just what it was. Like, there was nothing special about it. In the release version, you can like see her eyes and mouth like distort very inhumanly. It kind of plays with the audience because it's like, well, why would we see that if she's the one who is seeing things and hearing things? Like, why? But it doesn't change the fact that I think that it was a mental break. But I do think that was more interesting to add that little bit visually than to just have her writhing on the floor. Because when she was writhing on the floor, I was like, okay.
And then going off of what you're talking about, things that you noticed the second time, I noticed the symbolism of the position that like her patient was in when we first see her. Was the same position that Amanda was in when she was going through all of her old like pictures and stuff. She was also laying upside down. And then Maud, we see her in that position a few times throughout the film as well. I don't know what it's supposed to symbolize, but I did notice like the repetition of that pose. Overall, I think that it was fine. It's not an amazing A24 film. I was hoping, from A24, I'm sure everybody expects it to be a bit more. Of course, everyone's not going to love every movie, but this just wasn't really my type of movie. And it's also a very short movie. It's like 84 minutes long. So even though it feels like a slow movie, it actually goes by pretty fast because it's not even an hour and a half long. But it's available on Epix if anybody has that, or you can rent it.
So, if you guys seen the movie and you liked it or didn't like it, disagree with us or agreed with us, leave it down in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, share the video with all your friends, hit that notification bell so you know every time we post new videos.
Until next time, bye.